Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are starting chapter 8. 8.1 is circles and circumference, but in general, chapter 8 is pretty much going to be about that. Circles and area. So we're going to start with circles and circumference. Our essential question today is how can you find the circumference of a circle? Our I can statements are, I can describe a circle in terms of radius and diameter. I can understand the concept of pi. Pi is spelt like this, the math term, and it looks like this. And I can find the circumference of circles and perimeter of semicircles. So remember that I would like you to put your name at the top so that you can get credit for this, and so that if it does get lost, it can be returned to you. Today's date is 4/23. Alright, so if we look right here, here's our circle. The radius is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. So here's the center of that circle. Here's a point. This is the radius. It could have been up here. Connect it, center to any point on that circle. The diameter is the distance across the circle through the center. It could have been this way, it could have been this way. They are both diameter. So the radius represented as r in our equations is 1/2 of the diameter, which is represented as d in our equations. So if you look right below it, this is the equation. R equals diameter divided by 2. Because remember, there's a 1 in front of that d. And so it's 1/2 times d. 1 times d would be d, and divided by 2. We'll look at some examples with that later. The diameter represented as d in our equation of the circle is twice the radius, represented as r, once again, in our equation. So then we have diameter, d, equals 2 times r, 2 times the radius. If you can find the diameter or radius of a circle, then you can find the other one or another. Circumference. The circumference of a circle, represented as a big C, capital C, of a circle is equal to pi, you can write it like that, or pi, times, we're not adding or subtracting, the diameter or pi times twice the radius. Both equations are seen right here. Circumference equals pi times diameter, or circumference equals pi times 2 times pi times the radius. A semicircle is 1/2 of a circle. So those are all of our definitions for this section. Go ahead and turn the page. Okay, so the diameter of a circle is 20 feet. Find the radius. So the diameter all the way across here is 20 feet. We're going to have 20 divided by 2 equals 10 feet. Because if we look underneath of it, we have r equals the diameter divided by 2. The diameter was 20 feet, so we had 20 over 2, and we're trying to figure out that r. Now 2 goes into 20 10 times, so r equals 10. That one worked out nicely for us. Now over here, the radius of the circle, so from the center to any point on the outside edge of the circle, is 7 meters. Find the diameter. Well, our equation is d equals 2 times r, where d is the diameter and r is the radius. We're trying to figure out the diameter, find the diameter. So we have d equals 2, and it tells us our radius is 7 meters times 7. 2 times 7 we know is 14. Oops, I missed my label over here. This should be meters. So over here we also, sorry, this should be feet, and this one should be meters. 10 feet and 14 meters is what we should get there. Now I would like you to pause the video and try these two on your own problems. Use the equations that you've been given. Now, we're going to talk about the definition, or a little more explanation of the circumference. The distance around a circle is called the circumference. The ratio of circumference over diameter is the same for every circle and is represented by the Greek letter pi. We see it both ways, spelled out and represented. The value of pi can be approximated as 3.14 or 22 over 7. Excuse me. So right here, find the circumference of the flying disc using 3.14 for pi. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to use our diameter and our equation for circumference. If you need to turn back to it, I'm going to show you right here. You're going to flip back to the first page. The equation for circumference was pi times d, or 2 pi r. We were given the radius here, so I'm going to use the equation c equals 2 pi r. So we have c equals 2 times 3.14 times r. The radius is over here. It says 5 inches, so times 5. 2 times 3.14. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we're going to do 6.28 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. We have 2 decimal points, we have 2 decimal points. We should get c equals 31.40 inches. I'm going to give you a moment to try the next one on your own. Notice that it gives you, it wants you to use the fraction this time, and it gives you the whole length across. So pay attention to those, and I'm going to give you a moment to try that on your own. If you don't think I give you enough time, please just pause the video and try it. Alright, so since we do have the diameter here, we're going to use the other equation for circumference, which is c equals pi times diameter. C is our circumference, pi, d is our diameter. We're looking for the circumference. Pi, we're going to use 22 over 7. Diameter is 28. Remember, any whole number can be written over 1. We know how to multiply fractions. 22 times 28. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we should get 616 divided by 7, and you should get 88. Now please pause the video and try the on your own problems. Alright, so now you should have flipped the page to move on, and we see that the circumference of a roll of caution tape decreases 10.5 inches after a construction worker uses some of the tape. I want to know, what is the approximate diameter? Well, first we have to figure out what the circumference would be after it decreases those 10.5 inches. So we're going to do 31.4 minus 10.5, and we should get 20.9. So now we're going to use the equation C equals pi times diameter. I'm going to use 3.14 for pi, and then I'm going to use my 20.9 for my circumference. So I'm going to use 20.9 is about, we're going to do two wavy lines because that means about 3.14 d diameter. I'm now going to round both of these, and I'm going to round 20.9 up to 21, and I'm going to round 3.14 down to 3, because it's a lot easier to be and we're just approximating. I didn't want the exact, I just wanted an approximate. So now we're going to divide 21 by 3 and divide 3 by 3, and you should get 7 is going to be our approximate diameter. Seven inches. Go ahead and pause the video and try that on your own question. Now you should find right here, we're going to find the perimeter of a semicircular region. The straight side is 6 meters long. The distance around the curved part is 1/2 the circumference of a circle, the diameter of 6 meters. So we only need this part. We don't need the whole circle. We just need that top part. It's called a semicircle, half a circle. So what I'm going to do, we know that the circumference equals pi times the diameter. All we're going to do with this one is we're going to divide the circumference by 2. So if we divide the circumference by 2, to keep it equal, we have to divide this side by 2. So now we're going to get 3.14 times 6, because our diameter is still 6. 3.14 is still that pi value, divided by 2. 3.14 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 1 is 6. 7, 8. 6 times 3 is 18. 1, 2, 1, 2. You're going to get 18.84 divided by 2. You should get 9.42 meters. I'm So now that's not the end of it. We've just now found the circumference. We've just now found the circumference. We want the perimeter. So that's the circumference of the semicircle. What we want is the perimeter. So we are going to take the diameter plus the diameter plus the circumference and add them together. So we're going to do 6 plus 9.42, which equals 15.42 meters. I would now like you to try the two on your own problems. Go ahead and pause the video. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. And if I can't get to you in time, you can always open up your book and look at pages 318, 319, or 320 for additional assistance. I hope this made some sense, and we will continue working on this. All right, so now we are going to go over the on your own questions. If you look at the on your own questions, number 1, the diameter of a circle is 16 centimeters. We want to find the radius. Remember that when we're looking for the radius, we just divide the diameter by 2. So we're going to have 16 divided by 2. And what does that equal? That equals our r. 16 divided by 2 is 8 centimeters equals our r. The equation is r equals diameter divided by 2. All right, the radius of a circle is 9 yards. So now we have r equals 9 yards. We want to know what our d equals. Remember, our equation here is d equals 2r. We don't know what our d is. 2 times our radius, which is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. So d equals 18 yards. Hopefully those two made sense and you got them right. You just use the equations and plug them in. All right, now we're going to find the circumference of these three objects. We're going to use 3.14 or 22 divided by 7 for pi. I like to use 3.14. If 22 divided by 7 works better for you, that is totally fine. For this first one, we have the diameter of 2 centimeters. So we're going to use the circumference equals 2 pi r. 2 times 3.14 times 2. This is going to be 6.28 times 2. We're going to get 12.56 centimeters. Once again, you could have put the 22 divided by 7 right here, multiplied across the top, and then divided by the 7. 14 feet. We've got c equals, this is the diameter, so I'm going to use pi times d. 3.14 times 14, 43.96. If you chose to use the fraction, we would have had 22 divided by 7 times 14 over 1. Figure out what 22 times 14 is. Should have gotten 308. 7 times 1 is 7. Then you're going to do 308 divided by 7, And you should have gotten 44 feet. Now, if I look at that, I say, well, 44 and 43.96 are not the same thing. You are correct, but they are super duper close. And since this is an approximation and this is an approximation, they're gonna be off a little bit. That's okay. So if you're ever trying to figure them out and they give you multiple choice, like on a test or a quiz, if you get the decimal this way, round it up if there's no decimal options. Or if you want to go through and solve it with a fraction, that would be fine too. But don't freak out if you don't see the decimal or those are not exact. They are super close. Now, once again, we have a number 5. We're given the diameter, so we're going to use C equals pi times the diameter, 3.14 times 9, 28.26. This time we have inches. If you chose to use the fraction instead, you should have 22 divided by 7 times 9 over 1. 22 times 9 is 198. Divided by 7 times 1, which is 7. Now if I divide 198 by 7, I would get 28.29 inches. Once again, that is super close. 28.26 and 28.29 are really close. Now we're going to look at the on your own problem that was underneath the caution tape one. And it says that the circumference of the roll of tape decreases from the original. We're going from the original, which is the 31.4. Up here, the 31.4, that's what we're going to use as the original. The circumference of the roll of tape decreases 5.25 inches. Estimate the diameter of the roll after the decrease. We're going to use the same kind of equation as we used up here, but instead of using 20.9, we're going to do 3.14 minus 5.25. So we're going to do 31.4 minus our 5.25. When you figure that out, you should have gotten 26.15. Now we're still going to use the C equals pi times the diameter. We know our C, that's our 26.15. Use 3.14 times the diameter. That's what we're trying to figure out, because that's what it says in the question. I'm going to round both of these. I'm going to round this to 26 because it's approximate. Estimate, that means approximate. Divide it by 3 and divide it by 3. And you should get 8.6 equals the D. And when we estimate that, we're just going to round it and say that the diameter equals 9 inches. Now I'm going to go over the last two, numbers 7 and 8 of the on your own problems. Now remember that we have the circumference divided by 2 when we have a semicircle. So we have pi times the diameter, because right here we're given the diameter of 2 feet. And we're going to divide that by 2. So that's going to be equal to 3.14 times 2 divided by 2. Well, times 2 divided by 2, that cancels each other out. And we're going to have that it equals 3.14 feet. Now for 8, we have 7 centimeters, but we're still going to use that same equation of C divided by 2 equals pi times D divided by 2. Equal to 3.14 times 7 divided by 2. 3.14 times 7, 21.98, divided by 2, you're going to get 10.99. Now for those of you who thought, well, last time we didn't just leave it there, you're correct. I'm going to go back up to number 7. We don't leave it as the 3.14. That's the circumference. We're going to do 3.14 plus our diameter of 2 and get 5.14 feet as our final answer up there. Down here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 10.99 plus our diameter, which is 7, equals 17.99 centimeters. Because we have to add in the other side. When we have the circumference, we just have what goes around. And we didn't use this straight edge. So we found this part. We still needed this part. So when we add it in to find the perimeter, that's what you should get.